Welcome everyone to the sixth Speccy Experience stream. I'm your host Doughnut Doney. I hope you all are well. I'm just going to flick back to the screen again. Right, a couple of things have happened today. Obviously, we normally start at 7:30, but today, looking at my clock, it's near enough 8:15 UK time. Hopefully you can hear me all right, because I haven't actually got my phone stream on. So give me a little nod in the comments or something that you can hear me perfectly fine, and I will, that'll be amazing. You guys are helping me test out my sound, and hopefully you can hear me correctly. I normally prepare these streams well in advance, but there was a certain football game was happening tonight, Champions League football game, and I, like many people, were watching or listening to it. Here in the UK, we don't actually get able to watch it at all. We have to pay satellite channels to get it, to see it. So I was actually listening to BBC Sport commentary, who are normally very good anyway, just to see how PSG and Arsenal got on. Now, any of you who are waiting for the score or going to watch the game later, give a bit of a spoiler alert. PSG won. It was a penalty shootout. The game started at 5 o'clock, so hence why we're going to originally start at 8 o'clock, and then of course extra time and a penalty shootout. So that ended up, yeah. So I, like many others, wanted to find out what was going on. Now I'm just going to just bear with me for a second. I am sorting out this the stream at the moment still. So I just want to turn that over. That's better. I don't like the fancy overlay. I've only got the free version of StreamYard, which means I've got to, I can't put multiple screens on. And of course, I'm going to put an extra screen on soon. Now, those who've watched the Speccy Experience stream have figured there's something a little bit different tonight, other than starting a little bit later, is that I'm by myself at the moment because Martin can't make it tonight. Sam should be on later, hopefully maybe in a quarter of an hour, 20 minutes time. And Tez has been called away, and he said he will try to make it later if he can make it. But so it's me holding a fort for tonight. I hope you all don't mind. We have got two special guests with us today, and I can see that one of them's already in the StreamYard. You all can't see him, but I can see him, so he can make funny faces at me, and I'm trying not to laugh. Yeah, as he's doing right now. Thank you. We've got George, and now I'm going to probably pronounce this totally wrong, but Joao. Is that right, Joao? You can say your name when you come on in a minute. So the Speccy Experience, if you don't know, the Speccy Experience is a Facebook group which changed its name about 6-7 months ago, and we've got now close to, I think, 8,000 members, which is amazing in such a short time. The Speccy Experience stream is anything to do with the ZX Spectrum, and as I mentioned before, this is the 6th stream we are doing. So far, I've been in 5 of them, and so I've only missed one because it clashed with something that was going on. That was about 2 months ago. But we have got 2 guests with us today. George is not around yet, doesn't seem. I haven't got George in the links yet. So we'll be waiting for George in a moment, and then when they're both in, I'll get them both in. We've got Load ZX Spectrum, Load ZX from Portugal. So for the first time, we're going international. So you're going to see me pronounce some very bad Portuguese. So I apologize for all our Portuguese viewers who are here tonight, how badly my Portuguese is going to be. I'll try my best anyway. I have picked up some words already because I've been friends with these guys for quite a long time now, actually. I've been a spectator in their amazing Spectrum gameplay streams on Thursday nights. And I've actually taken part in one, and I actually surprisingly, I came 4th out of 8, which completely surprised me because I only practiced it the day before. So I was quite surprised there. But it's great fun. I'm great friends with these guys. I'm hoping, sadly, we'll talk about what events they are doing. One's coming up very soon. Sadly, I can't make it. We got both them in now. But I'm hoping maybe, guys, I know you're not in just yet, but I'm hoping maybe to make the awards next year in person and come, because it's earlier in the year. Is it February? Maybe it's February, March time normally. So that'd be ideal time for me because of work. I can't go this time because of work, so I'm covering people at work, and everyone knows what's the financial situation of the world at the moment, and airplane tickets are not cheap, and there's nightmare stories that it takes about 3-4 hours to leave the airport. So it'll be a bit of a nightmare for me. But anyway, how is everyone doing? I'm just going to, you might see me being slightly distracted because I'm just checking. It is in February. Good. See, I've just remembered StreamYard has got a private chat. I didn't realize it has until it just told me. So how's everyone doing? How is everyone in the chat? Please say hello. I will highlight the comments as I will try to do my best, but as I'm by myself at the moment, bear with me if I will feel a bit behind at times. So let's do some show chat straight away. So we've got a lot of our Portuguese friends here already. So sorry, Doughnut Doney, for Arsenal losing to PSG. I'm not really upset because I'm not an Arsenal supporter. I'm sad that our British teams could not dominate Europe this season because we've won the other two. We let you guys win the the most biggest one. But we got the World Cup coming up very soon, of course. So that's going to be the biggie for everyone, of course. I will talk about the World Cup, obviously, because both Portugal and England are in it, and Scotland as well. And I've also got a big World Cup episode coming up on my YouTube channel, which I've spent 3 hours editing today, which was a lot of fun trying to look through 20, would you believe there's 20 at least World Cup Spectrum games, World Cup games out there. And I had to look at everyone. And yes, that did include World Cup Carnival. Yeah, I had to go and play that again. No, it's not good. Anyway, so let's go through the comments again. So welcome, Joao. I'm going to pronounce all these Portuguese names wrong. I'm sorry. ZX Spectrum Load, I have sympathy for Arsenal, so it's tough for them. Maybe they'll have another chance next year. Of course they will. They are the Premiership champions. So we've got a lot of people saying hello. I will go through the comments as we go through the stream, but I will bring my guests in any minute now because I don't want to keep them waiting. We're going to talk about Low ZX, of course, and we're going to talk about the museum. I've got some pictures to show of the museum as well. There is a virtual tour, which I could use. Problem is, even though my computer is quite powerful, doing a virtual tour, doing a stream, doing the webcam and doing audio, it probably is going to lag terribly. So I've got pictures of the museum instead, which is quite easy. So I'm going to chat. I was configuring to Doney would only send a link later. Well, you both got the link now anyway, so it's all good. Right, let's call them both in. So George and I'm going to pronounce your name wrong all the time, Mr. Ramos, until you tell me how to say it. So now I'm going to say this totally wrong. Benvenido ao Flexo. It's meant to be welcome to the stream. So close enough. So boa noche. Hola. I won't say adios yet because it's not goodbye yet, but I'm getting there. I'm going to pick up somewhere. I know obrigado is quite easy. I'll remember that straight away. So let's add some people to the stream. Here we go. Remember to turn your mics on, guys. And if you've got me talking on your stream, please mute that because you'll hear me about 3 times and you only want to hear me once. So welcome to the Speccy Experience stream and welcome to the international edition. Imagine has got an international edition. We have got an international edition. So, hello, Portugal.
Hello, Britain.
Hello, good evening.
How are you both doing? Are you both sounding fine? That's good. So we got through the tech problems. So sometimes when people join us, they sometimes have mic problems. Now, I'm going to stop trying to speak total 100% British here and very fast. I'm going to try deliberately now slow down a little bit. But my English isn't too bad, but my Portuguese is awful. So, how are you both today? Sorry, it's a bit late.
It's okay for us. We normally do stuff all night long, so it's not a problem to have the stream at this hour. I have to say your Portuguese was very nice, but I could not understand very well your welcoming sentence because one of the things we do a lot in this country is to use English words. So I would say bem-vindo a stream. So we would use probably stream or transmissão, which is like stream in Portuguese. But so bem-vindo, you got it right, and the other word I could not get it. So but it was very nice.
It's meant to be AO Flexo, FLUXO to the stream.
I don't know what that means. AUFLO
AO?
alpha. That doesn't mean anything. There's something wrong there. But bem-vindo was nice. Bem-vindo is welcome.
What would you say then? How would you say welcome to the stream? Say in Portuguese, how would you say?
Bem-vindo a stream or bem-vindo a transmissão. If I wanted to use a Portuguese word, but normally we use a lot of English. In tech world, we use a lot of English words in case of doubt.
George, you're muted, by the way. I'm guessing that's you who muted yourself, or no, you're not muted now.
He was, but he's no longer.
He was muted, yes.
No, I'm here. I'm here. It's okay.
How are you doing? How's
I'm
you?
good. And I appreciate that you gave us the opportunity to watch the Champions League final. I'm a big football fan, so I wanted to see the final as much as possible.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, carry on.
Yes. No, I was just going to say that I didn't find it very exciting. It was very tactical, very careful from both teams. But it's modern football, I guess. Very tactical.
Yes. I think as I'm the only one from Speccy Experience at the moment here, the others, hopefully Sam and that will arrive later, is that we can get away talking about football for a little bit, because obviously the biggest European game other than the European Championship final has just happened. PSG of France, the French champions, against Arsenal, the newly crowned English champions. And we don't get it free here, so we don't see it at all. We have to go on satellite to watch it. So I had the radio commentary on, which was pretty good. BBC commentary is actually normally well known to be very good. And yeah, so it was a good, the penalty shootout sounded quite intense, but I think the other big news today, because I am kind of a supporter, is Liverpool have just sacked their boss.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So that was a bit of a shock as well. Not really a shock, but I think they did the right thing there. I think he was struggling. But yeah, so we had the Champions League, and of course, in June the 11th, the World Cup 2026 starts in North America and in Mexico. We'll talk about that later, but you're mainly here because you've been invited, of course. So many thanks for accepting your invitation to join us. We're going to talk about Load ZX, and I've got a couple of pictures to show of the museum, and which have been sent and which I have also grabbed from the website. I've actually got the picture I actually got the link of the website as well. I'll need to add that in later because I didn't get time to do it because obviously of the Champions League. But I'll leave the floor open to you two. Please just say who you are again, and whereabouts maybe you are in Portugal, and also your link to Load ZX. Oh, there you go.
Okay. So Jorge, if you agree, I'll start. So my name is João. João, you were all João. Yeah, it's very hard, I know. Many of my friends in England, sometimes they call me Diogo, which is my second name. I have two given names in Portugal. That's very common. Diogo is probably simpler because it's closer to Diego, like the Spanish Diego Maradona, for example, or Argentina.
Can you say again slowly?
Diogo, like Diego.
Diogo. Yeah, I can say that.
Yeah, that's my second name. But you said Ramos, which is my family name, perfectly. So, but again, João is like John, so it's the same thing as John. So, and I don't have any problem with how you pronounce it, so I'm okay with that. Regarding my link to all of this, so yeah, I'm the museum founder or co-founder because I did this with the Cantanhede City Hall. So I'm based in the city of Cantanhede, which is more or less in the center of Portugal, close to a city called Coimbra, which has the second oldest university in the world after Bologna in Italy. So
must be the third then.
yeah. Coimbra to me is a little bit like, I would say, Cambridge. I don't know Oxford, but Cambridge, in the sense that it's a university city. So everything goes around university. And so, yeah, so I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to talk about all of this of the museum. But for now, that's why I'm here. And I'm very happy for the invitation. And it's a pleasure to be friends with you and to have you in our streams every 2 or 3 Thursdays. So yeah, excited to be here. Let's see where the conversation takes us.
You might recognize some of these names appearing on the chat.
Yeah,
Sounds like
Portugal.
Portugal have invaded us, which is great.
Good.
Well, and, I am a volunteer in the Cloud ZX Museum. I'm George, so it's very similar to the English name. Very easy for you to say it, unlike Joao. And I grew up with the Spectrum, so I was a very happy gamer in the 80s, also a bit in the 90s, but with other computers. Then I stopped playing almost completely until 2020, when COVID locked us home because of the pandemic, and then I started cooperating with the museum a lot more. And over time, I also created a method for me and other ZX Spectrum gamers to play games online. And that's when I started cooperating more with the museum more and more, and also started doing some activities locally with the museum, for example, small tournaments of games. And then lately, 2 years ago, we started the ZX Gaming streaming initiative, where we meet more or less every 15 days to play online ZX Spectrum games.
And that, George, if I may add, that was something we did also to start exploring our Twitch channel. So it's something. It's also on YouTube, but we stream it in Twitch, and it was I think we're the only ones doing it for now, and it was something. Well, again, in the museum, this happens quite often, which is someone comes up with an idea. And when that happens, it's we need to find the conditions for things to happen, and that's what happened with the ZX Gaming, which is this Twitch online gaming thing we do with ZX Spectrum Games, which is quite interesting.
Definitely is. It's if everyone hasn't seen it yet, then please do. It's great fun seeing everyone try their best playing games that are over 40 years old in many cases, and every time I go, I'll try my best to watch most of the streams, but because I work early the next morning, I can only see the first half an hour or so. Unless I got a week off, which, by the way, I've got this week off. And yes, I think I was playing, if I remember correctly, it was Jetpack, and okay. I was quite shocked how I wasn't too bad at it actually, because normally I'm hopeless at the arcade Spectrum games. I'm normally better at the management ones, but. Right, so you might have seen briefly, because I had to go and set it up while George was talking. So many thanks both of you again for joining us. So tonight we'll basically give you a little bit of a heads up what's going on about today. We're talking about Low ZX, we're talking about the museum, we're also talking about the ZX Spectrum scene in Portugal, because I'm sure a lot of British people especially don't know much about it and how big it actually is. And also the special link between United Kingdom and Portugal, because we are the oldest allies in history
in the world.
Yes,
it's
since
true.
the 14th century or something. So it's been quite a few years we're allies. So good. I'm glad. So I'm keeping that alliance here. That's good. So we talk about Load ZX, the museum, a history of maybe a brief history of the ZX Spectrum in Portugal, because of course most of us know how it started in the good old UK, at Cambridge and Sir Clive Sinclair and everything like that. And also what's going on in the Portuguese scene at the moment, because I noticed quite a few games have been released from Portugal, which is amazing to see. The homebrew, as we call it, has exploded everywhere in the world, especially I think Portugal, ourselves, and maybe a couple of other countries. And we will then briefly talk about your favorite games, because I have got some screenshots of 2 of them. Because again, I had to rush because I was running because of the blinking Champions League. Yeah, and we'll take it from there. So let's start with some pictures, because we've got quite a few pictures. So if you can both if you could talk through what you're seeing on screen. So hopefully you can both see the stream.
Don't you think it could make sense to address first the part of the presence of the Spectrum in Portugal? Because I think then it makes it natural to go to the museum and why the museum and all of that. So perhaps if it makes sense to you, we can address that briefly and give the context to everyone that is listening to us.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
guys,
yeah,
we're as
so
we all.
To you.
Yeah. Okay.
So you and I'm going to censor you on the screen. Oops, no, that's not me. That's me. Hold on. I'm going to
spotlight. Yeah.
There we go. Spotlight.
So, I can lead this part because I think this gives the context. Look, as everyone has now realized, the Spectrum was a worldwide phenomenon, and we saw that, for example, when you guys did the Rubber Key Wonder documentary recently to celebrate the 40 years of the ZX Spectrum. What happened was that Nicola and Anthony Caulfield from Gracious Films, the guys that did the documentary, they start getting messages from a few people around the world saying, if you want to cover the entire history, the entire story of the Spectrum, you need to go to other places. You need to go to Brazil. You need to go to Portugal and understand what happened with Timex there. You need to go to Spain in Investronica. So the Spectrum was a worldwide phenomenon, and that was not clear for everyone in the very beginning. So let's be clear about this. The Spectrum is a British computer, no doubt about that. Okay, but it has a touch from many other parts of the world. In Portugal, I normally explain this to people. I think there's no debate that the Spectrum was the number one computer in the 80s because of one thing. We were and we are still a poor country. We were getting out of a dictatorship 5 years before, 6 years before, or 8 years before. And the fact that we eventually had a company called Timex, same thing that happened in Dundee, same thing that happened in Scotland. The fact that we had a company that converted from assembling mechanical watches into develop electronic projects to companies like IBM, Minolta, UG in Sweden, many others, but also to Sinclair, basically justifies that we had a lot of assemblage of ZX Spectrum computers over here. We also had development of new models over here, the Timex computers that were launched. And because of that, everyone here would have a Spectrum. And if you didn't have money to have one, just like in UK and other parts of the world, probably your neighbor would have one and you would join him after classes and spend an afternoon playing and all that. So we are all the same. The experience was probably very similar. What was different? We didn't have the BBC Micro as an alternative. We didn't have the Dragon. We had a few MSX, but it was never so big over here as far as I know. So the fact is, to us, the Spectrum was the computer. Of course, there were some Commodores. Of course, there were some Atari 800s or 600 or 400 or whatever, but it was not mainstream. The Spectrum was mainstream. And so that justifies that in Portugal and Spain, the Spectrum was huge. Another thing we didn't have, to say what it is like or different from the UK, we didn't have the bedroom coders working the same way, because we didn't have distribution of games with all the editors that you guys had, like CRL, Gremlin, Ocean, all the companies you guys had. We had one or two smaller cases, but we never had a commercial circuit for the games, which means we have lots of things developed over here, but with commercial success, you have very few examples when you analyze worldwide. So having said that, I think this explains a little bit of how it was growing up with the Spectrum over here. Pretty much the same as in the UK, with these slight differences, but with also Portuguese touch in this British computer. And that's the starting point then for the museum and all the rest. I don't know if George wants to add something. Of course, I didn't mention it. Piracy here was what made this a success. So sorry, guys, we didn't pay royalties to anyone, but we paid for the games. We thought we were buying original games. We weren't. But yeah, that's something also very peculiar from here. George, I don't know if you want to comment something.
Well, you did a good description, but I just wanted to share a curious story. I don't know if Mark Doney knows this, but I know that Mark is a fan of Formula One.
Yeah.
Mark, you played Formula One from CRL, Formula One, the management game.
Yeah, it's probably the best Formula One game on any computer.
From Peter Wheelhouse and George Murray. Yeah.
Yes, so I remember that you played online the original version, and you also have a video of the modified version that was built by me and another colleague, another volunteer of the museum.
Rui.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we are related, and in 2024, we brought Peter Wheelhouse to the museum in Portugal. And do you know that Peter Wheelhouse actually lived in Portugal in the 80s for more than 1 year after he built the game? He went to Portugal on an assignment. He was a project manager for an IT company.
So wasn't ICL? Wasn't he working for ICL?
I don't remember the name of the company.
Okay.
I don't really remember.
I thought it was.
But I think it was a mainframe system for the social security in Portugal. So Peter Wheelhouse was in Portugal for 1 year, and that's when he stopped programming the games. Okay, so there is this funny story about the connection also from the Spectrum.
That's a great connection even. Wow. So yeah, I'm a massive fan of Formula One. Watching and playing the games, and I've been a Formula One fan since the early 80s with my late father. So yeah, and playing Formula One again after 40 years. It's a very basic game, but it's still a lot of fun playing it, especially the amount of pit stops there is in such one race. It's you're thinking, oh, I'm doing well, and then the computer kind of knows that you're doing well, because it then gives you a pit stop or crashes you out. And then eventually when you get better, you're so far ahead, you still crash out. So thank you for that background history about the Spectrum. Let's just quickly go back to some comments, because there's been a lot of comments we've got a good old UK and Portugal comments coming through here from both sides of the I was going to say both sides of the Atlantic, but it's kind of the Atlantic in some ways. So we've got ZX Spectrum video saying, my MSX was my first computer, but Spectrum had more impact here. So what were the other rivals in Portugal other than the Spectrum? Was the Commodore, I'm going to say that 2 words, I'm afraid, the Commodore 64, did it feature strongly in Portugal?
Not in my friends list. Although I would suspect the Commodore to be the biggest competitor, but I'm not sure. George, what was your experience?
I didn't know almost anyone with the Commodore C64, but in the late 80s, I had several friends with Commodore Amiga. It became a lot more popular.
Yeah, Yeah, but
That was one.
that's let's say the evolution. So when people left the Spectrum, they basically went for the PC or the Commodore Amiga. I went for the PC. I played Commodore Amiga at some friend's house. A few would go for an Atari ST, but not so common. I would expect. Regarding the Commodore 64, what I was thinking, I had a cousin because we have lots of people living that go abroad to France, for example. Portugal is a country of people that in the 60s and 70s had to fly to other parts of the world to live. And as we have many family in France, for example, I do have cousins living in France and Canada and other places. But because of that, I remember one of my cousins who have an Amstrad CPC where I would play a lot every Sunday because I love to play Ikari Warriors on their computer, and they had a dedicated monitor to play it, so they had some CPC version. I think it was the 6128, but I'm not sure, where I used to play the Atari Ikari Warriors. Sorry.
Oh, what a game that was. I don't remember playing that.
Kind of like the Commando.
Yeah, exactly. Going back to comments now, I'm going back to this previous one. Have been to Portugal a few times and always wanted to visit Load ZX. There you go. But have never been able to convince my family, but I will make it one day, promise. Okay, guys, convince his family to go to Load ZX. The floor is
It's the
yours.
best museum in the world, but I'm biased. No, look, I think let's be very honest. One of the things that I like the most, and I don't do many guided tours in the museum because I don't work in the museum. So I work for the museum because it's my passion. I don't get a salary there or anything like that, but I do have a friend, Bruno, that works there daily. So when we have a guided tour, it's normally Bruno that does it. But sometimes I do guided tours. And one of the best compliments someone can give me is when people go there. Oh, this is a friend from Uruguay.
Uruguay. Wow.
Yeah, I think so. When someone goes to the museum in family and someone arrives there and they start doing the tour, and then we start talking, and I always make some questions to try to understand what was your experience with the Spectrum. Did you play one? Did you program? Did you add one? Are you a collector? And I do that because I need to adapt my speech according to what makes sense to them, because there are so many things that we can cover. That's the difficulty of this museum, because I can be discussing with another collector what is the most rare item we have there, or we can be talking about electrical vehicles and not even spend much time talking about the Spectrum because we are focusing on the other things Clive Sinclair did. So having said that, a few times happened that someone arrived there and they said, I didn't want to come. I'm just here because my husband wanted to come or something like that. But the way you describe this, the passion that you describe this with, made me really enjoy the tour. And that's the thing I like the most, which is to surprise someone, because this is not a story about 40 or 50-year-old guys that want to live in their teenage years. It's not nostalgia. This is really a computer that changed the world. Of course, if it wasn't the Spectrum, there would be others. But the fact is, this is the computer that went mainstream in our houses. And so it has a very important role in history. I don't try to convince them that the Spectrum is the best computer in the world. It is, but I don't try to say that. But I try to explain to people that it's still alive. It involves money and games that are still being developed every year. So it's pretty much alive. And it's very important to understand why now we have these kind of things in our pockets, and we have in our microwave, we have technology, and we have technology everywhere, and it has to start at somewhere. I always give this example. There was a president of IBM in the 50s, I think, that said that the entire world needed 3 computers, 3 or 4, something like that. I normally joke and say we have that now in the kitchen. So to see how the world changed, the Spectrum had a role on that, and that's something that I would use to try to convince them to go to the museum.
So what would you say then? Okay, let's turn the question around to you. What would you say would be, if you're on a desert island, you had an ultimate power source, Had to get that in so it wouldn't work. Which 3 computers? Okay, we know one of them. What about, I'm going to ask both of you this. So you're on the desert island, you've got unlimited power source, you can't get off it, but you've got your 3 computers and take decks, whatever it's needed to play games. You've got unlimited games as well, but you still can't get off the desert island. So it's a real crap desert island then. Which other 2 computers would you take with you? There we go. Got you thinking now. Up to you who's ever first. I don't mind.
George, do you want to start?
Well, I can start. Of course, I would take the Spectrum. There is a very good reason because I'm quite good at some games, so I had some pleasure of playing them again with other perspectives and other ways of playing. So I like to explore, even if they don't seem sometimes very rich, but some of them are. Then I would take the PC. It was my following computer, and I played a lot of Formula One from Microprose.
Oh, yes, the Grand Prix classic games. Yes.
Dynablasters, Sensible World of Soccer, those kind of games.
Oh, yeah.
And lately,
Good.
GTA, which is the grandson of Turbo Esprit, I would say. So GTA is a modern version, but Turbo Esprit, I think it was the first in that kind of genre. And then I would take the PlayStation 2. Because you don't need the internet. So that's a big advantage to take one of those consoles.
But you don't know if you have Starlink or something like that in the desert island.
I'll let you off, as it's a console, not a computer, but I'll let you off. Consoles can be included in this.
You're right, because I didn't have more computers to add. That's it. Yeah.
Oh, that's fair enough. Okay, I'll let you off.
There's a disclaimer I need to do, and I hope this doesn't make everyone start leaving the stream.
Please don't.
I'll need to do it. I'm not a player. I'm not a gamer
please
anymore.
Don't leave. I mean,
you guys stay. There's lots of interesting things we'll be talking about. That's a very good question. The one that you just put on the line. Yeah. We'll go to it later. But the fact is, I'm not a gamer, but I do enjoy revisiting the games that I love to play. I love to play in arcade machines. I have one behind me that I somehow recreated.
Looking around and seeing that machine, yeah.
So I did it. Because I remember playing things like Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, Final Fight, all the kind of side-scrolling beat 'em ups, and all the Mortal Kombats and all sorts of games. So I did play a lot. But if I had to, choosing the games, I'll give you 4 things. One is the Spectrum, the other is the PC. I played a lot in the PC. I remember enjoying a lot playing Dune 2000, I think. So there were lots of games that I remember playing in the PC, Doom also, and Wolfenstein, and all those things, Phantasmagoria. I always like games with cutscenes, so anything that brought video in the very beginning. I love, not in the PC, but I love in Philips CDI, Mad Dog McCree, the one with the gunfighters game. So I would have to choose the Spectrum in the PC. Then there is one thing I still do. Normally, on Christmas Eve, I don't know why, but I start playing in a portable console on that night before dinner. In the end of the afternoon, I spend a couple of hours playing. So normally I will pick up either my PSP or many times my Game Boy, my original Game Boy that I still have. So I could claim that it's because the Game Boy has a Z80 processor like the Spectrum. Well, I could say many things, but it's because the Game Boy was the only console I had. I did play Mega Drive, Master System in some cousins. house, but having a console with me was the Game Boy, was the only one I had. So either the Game Boy or the PSP are consoles that I like, so I would probably choose one of those. If I had to work, I would choose my Apple computer, because there's nothing better.
Okay, it's only fair I give my three. My three are quite easy, actually, because one thing I had a good 5-10 minutes, I could think of my three as you two were chatting. So my three was the ZX Spectrum, of course, probably the +3, because it was the last Spectrum that I had until this Spectrum. And I remember putting the discs in the +3, enjoying the games loading up in such a short time. And discs are easier to carry and last longer than cassettes.
That's debatable. That's debatable. That last
even though there wasn't,
but okay, but let's go on.
even though there wasn't that many disc games for the Spectrum either. And I will also take a PC. I'm a big fan of the full motion video games as well. Same period. I remember playing Wing Commander, seeing the little cutscenes of Mark Hamill in, thinking, what's Luke Skywalker doing in Wing Commander, and saying how great that was. I didn't play Command and Conquer. I wasn't a big fan of that, but I did. That's memories of Wing Commander and Privateer and stuff like that. I love those games. And my last one would be my very first computer, and I'm hoping the audience don't run away here. No, it's not a Commodore 64. It's an Acorn Electron. And of course, Acorn Electron, Acorn and Spectrum are linked. So that's a nice, I didn't realize that Acorn Electron were linked until I watched that BBC documentary about the life of the Spectrum. I thought, so they are, that's why. So it's nice that my very first computer is kind of linked to the ZX Spectrum in some strange way. The Acorn Electron, if you don't remember, was the BBC Acorn version of trying to compete with the Spectrum as a games computer, and it didn't work. ZX Spectrum literally easily won that battle, but the Acorn Electron was a lovely computer. It's probably still got one of the best keyboards, I think, ever of all the computers. I've still got mine in the loft, even though it probably half doesn't work, because I tried to put a joystick module into the back of it and didn't realize it didn't fit. That's when I realized I was colorblind. So that's how I found out. I'm not that bad, but yeah, that's my memories. So we're going to go back to some comments, because we had a real good question that coming up, and I'm going to put you guys to see if you can answer it, because I don't know the answer to this, obviously. So hopefully you guys might give Sir Clive's here, so everyone bow to Sir Clive, the answer, or a answer. So the question is, I'd be interested in how a museum is dedicated to a single 8-bit computer can survive. I would assume it relies on the generous benefactors rather than visitors.
How many hours do we have?
Few minutes.
I'm kind of sweating to answer this one, but it's a very nice question. Thank you for asking it. And sometimes there's people that go into the museum and only enjoy it, and there's people that go into the museum and understand and make these kind of questions, which is, okay, this is quite nice, but how does this work? And there's one part that Sir Clive, I don't know his real name, so there's one part that Sir Clive probably doesn't know, is that we're located in Cantanhede. And Cantanhede, I'm from Cantanhede, so I have all the passion for this city. But Cantanhede is not a tourist city, so we're a small city in a good location in the country. But we are 2 hours from Lisbon and 1 hour from Porto. We don't have trains stopping here anymore. You don't have a direct bus from Lisbon to here, or from Algarve to here, or Porto to here. So it brings a lot of challenges. Okay. So having said, the reason we did it in Cantanhede was not because we're, let's say, stupid or kind of thing, was because when I decided to start the museum and I started looking for partners to do it, I thought that I didn't want to do it in one of the major cities. I wanted to do it as a way to also contribute to my region to develop. And so, because it's something I learned from my parents, seeing their examples. And so I decided to do it either in Coimbra or Cantanhede, and Cantanhede was the city hall that gave me all the support I needed, and that's why we're here. I live 1 kilometer from the museum, so it's very comfortable for me. If someone comes and calls me, and if I'm available, I can go there. if I need to this night to go and study something in one of the computers, I just need to go there and pick it up. So having said that, yeah, that's they're not
Go then.
Yeah, we have the map, and that's where the museum is located. Now, having said,
people, sorry, I was just going to say, a lot of people don't realize whereabouts it is, because of course I was hoping to go to this football special, so I was doing a lot of homework finding how to get there, and so I kind of know this area pretty well there. So we've got Porto up there, of course, and then there it is, it's down there. So let's zoom as I call it, and here we go. So we're gonna show you the town. Is it a city or a town, would you say?
I can see my house right now.
You can see your house. Don't worry, we won't show your house. We're just going to show the area where the museum is. So don't worry about that. So
no problem.
We'll go, and this is on Google Maps, everyone.
In our website, you have all sorts of information about how to get there. But it's not easy. That's what I mean. It's not the easiest place. It's not like landing on a plane in Lisbon or Porto and taking an underground and you're in the museum. No, it's not. And that brings some other challenges.
Yeah, it's if I'm correct, it's from Porto, for instance, for me, it would have been 2 bus journeys and a train journey as well. But I kind of did that going to Cornwall last week, so yeah, it's just exactly the same.
Of course, we would make that easy, because you arrive in Porto, you get the underground, then you get either a bus or a train to Aveiro, which is there in the map. Aveiro is the Portuguese Venice. It's a very nice city. Yeah, it's a very nice city, and then we would find a way to pick you up. So when there's an event, we can organize these kind of things. But having said this, so this is the context of where we are. And the question was really very good. The museum is free entrance, okay? So you don't pay to visit the museum. So that's another thing that shows you that we're doing this also to make the collection useful for the society. You do pay if you want. You will pay a guided tour if you want to have a guided tour with a guide. But it's a symbolic cost. For example, if a class goes there with 20 kids, they will pay 20 euros. So it's €1 per person. It's nothing. If it's a family with less people, it's probably 10 or 15, depends on the number of people and several parameters. But again, it's not enough to pay for the museum or anything like that. The City Hall supports the museum in the sense that they give some money for our activities, and they support. So the space is theirs, belongs to them. The employee that keeps the museum open works for the City Hall, and the electricity and water and surveillance and things like that, they are provided by the City Hall. But there's a problem, which is we're not a museum that opened 5 years ago and we stopped. We're a museum that keeps growing every day. We participated in a British documentary. We did a national documentary about Timex. We did a TV miniseries. We launched the book. We organized the Oscars of the ZX Spectrum every year. Every 2 years, we have an international event. So you guys can't imagine how hard it is to do this from Portugal. Because look, I love Crash Live. I went to one of the things. I love all the work that Chris has been doing with Fusion Retro Books and not Fusion Retro Books. I always mix up the name. But so with Crash Magazine and all of that. Imagine doing that in Portugal. To do an international event in Portugal, we need to have the people flying over. Well, we can have 1 or 2 or 3 speakers from here, but if you want to have the big names, you have to fly them over. I'll tell you just this story. It's a side story, but I think it helps. I think it's interesting, and George mentioned that before. So when we did 2 years ago the event about Formula 1 and racing games and things like that, I spoke with Clem Chambers, who was the founder of CRL, the company that launched Formula 1. And I spoke to him because we wanted to have his permission to relaunch the Formula 1 game. So we did a re-edition of the game in tape. It ran out and we did a second batch now. And I spoke with him and I was telling him, we are this museum, we doing an event. And he was like, we're in 2024 and you have a museum about Spectrum? And he keeps going, and he starts making questions. And you organize events, and you have the Oscars of the ZX Spectrum. Where are you guys based? How can I fly there? And I tell him, and the guy appears in our event. He came to our event. I didn't pay him to come to our event, okay? So he decided to come just to understand how the hell people in 2024 were still giving a lot of attention to all of this. And I think he enjoyed it a lot. He came with his wife. He met his friend Peter Wilhouse, who was the programmer of the game. So it was very exciting for all of us. But what I mean is, to do this in Portugal is very hard. Now, having said that, I already spoke about the support of the CTO, but I also mentioned about the ambition of the museum. Then we do have 3 sponsors for now, 3 companies that give us some money. 2 are Portuguese IT companies that are close to me, let's say it like that. And the other one that has been supporting us since last year was Spec Next, the guys behind the Spectrum Next. So the team from the Spectrum Next has decided to start supporting us also. Is it enough? No, not at all. Not at all. Not 10% of what we need. So in the end, how did we make this work? That's the we would say in Portugal, that's the question to win the, I don't know the expression in English, but when you play Trivial or Party and Co, when you win the cheese, when you get the right answer, we would say that's the major question you want to answer. So one of the ways that we found to make the museum survive was this. I realized that I could do some activities complementary to the museum that could generate revenues that I could, because I want, but that I could reinvest in the museum. What do I mean? After setting up the museum, I created a very big gaming collection of consoles, all sorts of consoles since the 70s until today. So we don't have it on display in the museum because we don't have space and we don't want to change the focus of the museum. But we have things like Magnavox Odyssey, Atari Pong, Intellivision, ColecoVision, you name it. We have everything until PS5 and PS5 Pro and Xbox, whatever. We have all sorts of gaming devices. Why? Because we created our own brand of some gaming festivals called street gaming. Street gaming is something that I created with another friend. He's an influencer, content creator in Portugal. He has a lot of viewers in TikTok. And my friend Mark Fresco, he was also the host of a program on national TV called Retro Gamers. And eventually he came to interview me in the museum. And I look at him and I was like, what are you doing here? Because we were friends, but we didn't know we were both related to this video games area. So he was organizing something at Comic-Con. And we start talking, the two of us, saying we should do something better. And we created this concept of the street gaming. There are lots of videos that I can share. I can put the links there. Or if my friend Diogo Reis, that works in the museum, is still online, you can put the videos for the teasers about street gaming in the chat in YouTube if anyone wants to see. But so street gaming is an event that it's non-competitive. It's not esports. It's for families. It's leisure. But we can sell this event to city halls around the country, which we have been doing. And that money, on my share of that money, is used to reinvest the museum. But that tells you one thing, which is I'm still reinvesting in the museum. And for those that don't know, the collection started as a private collection that grew way out of control. And I had a problem and I needed to find a solution because the collection started basically here, over here. Well, forget about this. But all these shelves were filled with computers until they were more than I could hold here. And so that's when I decided to start the museum. But what I mean is the collection is private, not because I want to keep it. I created a non-profit association to manage it and to put it at the service of the society. But the only reason it is private is because for now, I know that if I pass away, it's very hard for the project to survive. So my struggle now is to find the right context to ensure that in 50 years or 100, there's still the ZX Museum. And this is not something I just made up to look nice. This is written in our strategic plan, which is a document that is for now in Portuguese, but that was published last year or 2 years ago in our anniversary. And I'll shut up now because I spoke a lot. But I try to be as honest as possible answering the question of Sir Clive.
No, thank you very much. George, let's get to you. Can you tell me how you started off working as a volunteer for Load ZX? How did it start? Can you remember your first day?
Well, I remember that on the first event that I was supposed to organize for the museum, I got sick with COVID. So actually, it didn't happen. But I met Joao about 13 years ago when Joao did a small event showing part of his collection in Lisbon. So that's why when I met Joao for the first time, at the time, Joao was just someone that had a great collection of ZX Spectrum computers, Sinclair objects also, but I didn't know much about Joao or his collection.
No one knew back then. I can give the context afterwards, but no one knew. That's a fact.
Yeah, so Joao appeared in Lisbon. I went there with a friend. And during COVID, as I said, I started participating in a Facebook group with other members of the Portuguese community. And in this Facebook group, I created that method to play online. So I started asking people to play online with me on usually Saturdays in the evening because we had to be locked out at home. So we started playing a Formula One, Laser Squad. I think I played a lot of Match Day 2 also with a friend that lived in Ireland. So we were playing online. He's a very good player of Match Day 2. So we kept on playing until I started getting more involved with the museum. And I think the first time that I actually participated in an event, it was in the Game of the Year Awards.
Which we'll talk about later.
Yes, well, we'll talk about it. So
yeah,
I started doing some volunteering work to help promote the events, to do some monitoring of the YouTube chat during the event, things like that. And 2 years ago, I helped Joao bringing Peter Wilhouse and other guests for that Formula One event. And now we are preparing another event. Joao will talk about it later also. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just sorting something quickly out. Sam's going to join us very soon. So that would be great.
I can comment while that happens if you want. I can comment on the event that George was explaining because we haven't explained why
the events yet. Yes.
No, and why we created the museum, and it is related to what George was referring to, which was in 2016, if I'm not mistaken, or around that. So if you want, it's as simple as this. So I started I had lots of things from my childhood in the attic, and I had lots and lots of things for the Spectrum. You mentioned you played on the +3 with the discs in Portugal. I had a different thing, which was the FDD 3000, which was the floppy disk drive system from Timex that you could connect to your 48K rubber keyed Spectrum. That's what I did. So I also had the experience of using floppy disks, but with a different system. Again, also not very common or easy to get games on it or anything like that. But so I had many things in the attic, and in around 2011 or 12, I started collecting Spectrums because I bought one, and I thought I'm in a period of my life where I can do this. Fast forward, I do that. I start that collection. I won a business plan competition about another project related to collecting. So I did a platform for collectors that I was using my personal collection to test also. And some other friends in the Spectrum area, they also did the same. And eventually in 2016, someone from a national museum in Lisbon calls me and says, we want to organize the 34th birthday of the anniversary of the Spectrum. And someone told us that you are a collector of Sinclair stuff, and we would like your help to do it. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I didn't knew Jorge. No one knew me. That's a fact. Because now if you search about the museum or my name, I appear everywhere. But that
Yes.
was totally different. When we started in 2019 in Cantanhede, I had 300 people coming over for the opening, but no one knew me. Of course, I had my friends, but from the let's say the Spectrum community, I was just a collector like many others. And I never claimed we had the biggest collection or anything like that. I think now we probably do, but not because I think so, because I have the Sinclair family coming over and saying they never saw it anywhere, something like this. But again, bigger or not bigger, that's not the most important thing. The important thing is what you do with it. And let's keep this in the context that we are discussing, because this sentence out of context is quite strange. But having said that, so in the 34th anniversary, I do that experience in Lisbon, and the fact is, same way that Jorge probably liked to visit, I like to see my computers being touched and explain and tell the story of all of it. And then in 2017, I'm invited by several British friends to go to Cambridge. Basically, I got a phone call from a friend, Will Woodvine, and he asked me, are you coming to England this year? I said, I don't know, what's happening? And he said, I got permission to visit all the former facilities of Sinclair in Cambridge. And I was like, when? And few weeks later, I'm in Cambridge with 12 other guys. Brendan Alford, for example, from the Spectrum for Everyone, is one of the admins of that group. Many other friends from the British community. And so when I visit Cambridge, it gave me more strength to, I came over to Portugal and I said, we need to do a museum about this, because Clive Sinclair deserves much more recognition than what I see, even in British museums. Again, let me be very careful with what I'm saying. What I mean is this: to you guys in Britain, Clive Sinclair is one among many. He may be one of the most prolific inventors, but he's one among many. Chris Curry from Acorn, Alan Sugar from Amstrad. You can mention the guys from Dragon, the guys from Sam Coupé, from Auric, from the Jupiter Ace. So you can name all those guys. In Portugal, we didn't have that. We had the Spectrum, which means that for us, Clive was very, very important. When Clive Sinclair passed away, the day after, one of the national channels in Portugal came over to the museum to ask us about the importance that he had for the computing world. So what I mean is the experience in Lisbon that Jorge was describing when we met, and I didn't remember where it was, and the visit to Cambridge were probably the two triggers that, when I had the problem of I want to keep growing the collection and I don't have space anymore, that those were the triggers that made me say we should go for a museum. And I'll shut up. I'll talk a lot, as you guys already realized.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Amazing story. So as you all know, as Joao was talking, a certain new person appeared. Of course, Sam, part of the Speccy Experience Stream admin team. How you doing, Sam? You all right?
Hi, Mark. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. And hi, and I apologise if I mispronounced.
I've done it all the time. Don't worry.
Don't worry.
Joao, and I think Jorge.
George.
Yeah, it's okay.
As well.
Yes,
very
George.
very nice to meet you. I didn't want to interrupt. Apologies for being late as well.
No worries.
My wife is out at a concert tonight. She's a big Take That fan, and,
Right.
I'm in charge of the young children tonight, and they took a little while to go to bed. In fact, they may appear at some point at the door.
No, it's
so
fine.
Apologies in advance, but I finally made it. That was really interesting to hear, by the way. And,
exactly, it's a great story. It's great history and story. So many thanks for that. I'll just go through the comments because we've got a lot to catch up on, and then we'll start showing some pictures of the museum, and then after that we'll briefly talk about the events that happen at the Load ZX Museum. There's one going on very soon, actually, and then there's the big one early next year. I'm so sad I can't make the one going in a couple of weeks. It's just really bad timing for me. So we got a comment here from ZX Spectrum Load. So Clive ZX, this idea to convince your family, because if you remember a few minutes ago, we're trying to convince his family he should go to the museum. Go to the museum, train to Coimbra, then a cab, and then head to that place there, which I can't pronounce, and enjoy a great beach day. It is summer. Yes, and of course,
if you guys like surf, it's a good surfing spot in that Figueira that was mentioned in
us Brits have at the time of this stream, we've just had a heat wave. It's slowly getting a little bit more bearable, but we had 35 degrees on Tuesday, which is for us is, well, I was in the office, so it was horrible.
That's fairly normal in Portugal, though, right?
Yes, yeah, normal temperatures for Portugal.
Yeah.
So Darth Mike said an excuse for a holiday to Portugal. Exactly. So many big thanks to all the people in the chat, by the way, for coming in. Sorry if I hadn't said hello to everyone, but I'm saying hello to you all now. Especially a lot of them coming over from, we got someone from Uruguay. A lot of our Portuguese friends are in the chat today, which is great to see. So we've got a couple more. So Clive, ZX, trying to get there makes it even more sweet. There's a studio museum in Japan that's hard to get to, and that is part of the experience. That exactly is. Right, when you get to there, you know you've been there and you've got there.
Like a pilgrimage.
Yeah, a lot of pilgrimage. Yeah, exactly. So for me, my pilgrimage will be going to Load ZX Museum.
We intend to be the Mecca of the ZX Spectrum.
Exactly. Yeah. Other than Cambridge, of course. And I'm really saying that with
in some things we're better, in other things we'll never be like in Cambridge, of course.
I kind of bite my lip when I'm saying Cambridge because I'm an Oxford guy. So I always have to say that. And I do work for Oxford University as well. So even though I'm going, right. Load Spectrum, Load. There's literally a ferry boat from Plymouth to Bilbao. Then you head southwest to Portugal.
But from Bilbao to Portugal, it's like 11 hours. So be careful.
It's the road trip option. Good luck if you want to go by road. Our friends are already organising care sharing trips above, and very nice. ZX, Bruno, hello Bruno. ZX Load and counting the days. Let's show a couple of more things here. Darth Mike, I had the ZX Plus hard key in the grey 128K Amstrad variation of the Speccy. That was the plus 2A or 2B?
Or the plus 2, the grey one, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the grey one.
The above.
Plus 2A was
one person actually said, if I ever go to Porto, they can actually take me to the museum, which is very nice of them. So I will remember that because I might need it next year. So let's go and show some pictures. So I need to set up my screen for the pictures. So Sam, have you got any questions for our guests?
Well, I was particularly interested to see that letter from Crispin Sinclair. I mean, that must have been amazing when he came to visit with his family. Is that?
Yes. The letter was afterwards. Look, I'm you guys don't know me that well, but I'm normally I try to be, as I think everyone, a very honest guy and transparent. And what I mean is I normally tell to people around me that it's really awkward, and I really feel it, that every 3 weeks or so when my phone rings and I read Crispin Sinclair, and I'm like, who the hell would say that eventually one day I would be, let's say, friends with one of the sons of Clive Sinclair. I've met this year Crispin, his sister. I don't know his other brother. I met Clive's brothers. both the designer Ian and I think Fiona, the name of his sister. So Crispin organized. We haven't disclosed this yet, so I'm saying it live for the first time. But in early March, I think, and the reason we didn't disclose it is because we're trying to change a few things in how we communicate. We're too much dependent of social media, which fails for many reasons. So we're trying to change that, but we haven't concluded it. And in early March, I went to Cambridge to pick up one object and to meet the family of Sir Clive Sinclair, or some of the family members. I was also with Jim Westwood. There was a picture that was on the internet. So we visit the former Sinclair Research Headquarters that belonged to Anglia Ruskin University. And Jim Westwood was there, and he was the guy behind the ZX80 and many other things. He's an amazing guy. And so that's one of the things. And then I brought to the museum, it's still not on display, the last prototype bike that Clive Sinclair was working in 2021 when he passed away. So that was with Crispin, and he decided to loan it to the museum. That's one thing. 2 weeks ago, I was in a place. I won't say for now where, but it's a place where they have a family house in the UK, a cottage. And I stayed there 1 week, going through the paperwork of Clive Sinclair and scanning everything, 7,500 shots or sheets of paper that eventually will be released after they are curated. And so this tells you how close we became. And this happened because Crispin decided to go on vacations to Portugal. I didn't pay to Crispin to go to the museum, okay? He wanted to go to Portugal because sometimes it could happen. I would pay if he asked me to help with that. But what I mean is, of course, as the museum grows, we can start deciding in a different way the kind of investments that we need to do. But the fact is, and in all honesty, Crispin wanted to go to Portugal on vacation and to know the museum. And he went there. By coincidence, I told him to go in the week that we were doing the Oscars, the GOTY, the Game of the Year Awards. And I told him, well, if you could come in this weekend, it would be marvelous. And he said, yes, it's a good weekend. And then I told him, if you allow me to announce your presence here, it will help us to make this even bigger. And he allowed us. And then he even allowed us to do one very crazy thing, which was to use AI to put Clive Sinclair making a speech using AI, opening the event. And we did that. It's on our YouTube, and it was very nice.
I have to find that.
It's the opening speech in the GOTY stream from last year, not this year, so the other one. And yeah, we became friends. We talk from time to time, and we start doing things together because I think he understood that our motivation was the best. You have company.
Pardon me.
No problem at all.
This is Elena.
Hi, you can hear us, but hi. So he understood that our motivation was to honor the legacy of his father, and I respected that he was there on vacations with his family, so I didn't annoy him. I tried to split what is. I try to avoid being the fan. And so I respected that he was there with his family on vacation. I tried to give as much context as possible, but respecting that. And the fact is that we became friends, and we try to identify things where we can mutually help each other. And it's an honor for us. And then eventually he did sign a letter on behalf of the Sinclair family saying how important this is for the legacy of their family. I have to say, we also have one that we got more or less at the same time from Timex in USA. I spent 3 years to get it. I spent probably 3 years talking to the CEO, the CFO, everyone in the company. It was not easy, but eventually we got it. And they don't give us money. And I didn't ask for money from them. What I wanted was the recognition that what we do is important to a part of their story or their history.
That's great. Interesting to hear. I'm curious to talk some more about Timex in a bit, but just on the Crispin Sinclair bit, what did he look at for longest in the museum? Because I will see some pictures of it, I guess, in a bit, but I know that there are computers there. there's a C5. There are the old small TVs. Was there a particular section that he and his family were most interested in?
I think, of course, it's difficult to try to say what others felt, but I think for us, let's start with what was interesting to us. What was interesting to us was to hear on the first person what it was to grow up with some of the objects. He used a Z88 in the university. He had a black watch since it was released. So it was. He told me lots of things about the Forum mobile phone, which was launched by Shea Communications, which was a spin-off of Sinclair MetaLab. So there was lots of things that he could teach me, and hearing it in first person was very nice. I think what he was looking for, and he got it, was not on a personal level to him, but it was to provide the experience of seeing all these objects to his kids, because he has two children with I don't know the age, but probably 11, 8, something like that, around that. They're not teenagers, it was the best way to show them how huge, how big are the inventions with the brand Sinclair. Our name in the museum is misleading because, like you said, we do cover everything that Sinclair did. If we were in the UK, the museum would be called the Sinclair Museum. The reason that we don't call it the Sinclair Museum is because of two things. One, we don't say the Sinclair Spectrum in Portugal. We normally say the 48K. That's how we refer to the rubber key. We call it the 48K. So we don't use the brand Sinclair in the name that much. And if I called it the Sinclair Museum, it would be kind of, let's say, offensive to Timex. And you want to know more about that later. So at the same time, the name is misleading because we cover anything that Sinclair did or anyone that worked with Sinclair. A friend of mine normally says that if you want to sell something, you put a sticker saying Sinclair and you sell it to me. That's what he normally says, joking. But it's true that if, for example, why do we have a Jupiter race? Well, the Jupiter race was created by Steve Vickers and Richard Altwasser, which are the two guys behind the ZX Spectrum, a part of Rick Dickinson and Clive Sinclair. And they left Sinclair Research, or one of them left Sinclair Research, the other left Nine Tiles, and they created Jupiter Cantrave, where they launched the Jupiter Ace computer. To us, it makes all sense to have this computer because it connects to the story of this. But we do the same with Timex. We have stuff, for example, we were talking about football this in the beginning of this stream. In the Porto, Futebol Clube do Porto Stadium, in the old stadium, not the current one, there was a billboard, a huge billboard with advertisement. It was controlled by a Spectrum computer. This was provided by a company called Dixtronic. Dixtronic was a company by a Timex employee, Timex Portugal employee. So we try to, this is like a spaghetti, and you start pushing and you start going after everything that is somehow related to this. You want to know something strange? We have in the museum an autograph by the Stranglers, the British brand. Why? Because 2 or 3 years ago, the Stranglers came to a big festival that we have in the city of Cantanhede, and I was starting the museum. And someone told me that the Stranglers eventually launched a tape, an album, with a tape that had a ZX Spectrum program. I bought the tape, and I found someone to go to the backstage and tell them, I'm creating a Spectrum museum. Please autograph this because I want to put it in the museum. We have it there because there's a connection to the Spectrum. Wow. You see? That's how crazy I am. And I mean just because I'm the face of the museum, but there's a team of volunteers and non-volunteers with me.
I think that's a valid link. It's not too tenuous.
Sorry?
I think that's a valid link. Yeah. I would be interested in that, certainly. That's links to the Spectrum.
George, do you want to add to anything?
Well, I think Joao is doing quite well, and Joao It's all the story about the Sinclair family, which honestly I'm not an expert about.
Okay, no problem. So I'm looking at the time. It's racing along because we did start a bit later because of the football. So we are going to carry on for another 20 odd minutes. So I'm going to start racing through these photographs because they are ready to show. So some people can actually see a bit more about the museum. Just bear with me when I'm doing this because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And occasionally the gremlins appear and I have to make sure it works. So of course the first photo is outside. If you look from outside to the museum, this is
a former elementary school, just for you to understand. So it's a deactivated elementary school and we're using part of the building.
Yeah, there you go. So we'll go to picture 2. Describe this as please.
The best description I ever heard about this was someone wrote in our guest book, this is like the Disneyland for the Spectrum, something like this, because of the objects. So look, when we did the first temporary exhibition in another museum in Cantanhede, we did the giant ZX Spectrum. And we did it because in another life, let's say it like that, I've been making lots of things in styrofoam, and I bought a machine to cut styrofoam, and someone said, oh, we should do a giant spectrum. And I said, I can do it. So me and the guys from the City Hall, we did it. And then when we moved to this location, I wanted to have something from Timex in the outside. So as we had the rubber key there already, we needed a tape recorder, and there's a very famous tape recorder from Timex, so that's why we did it. And then a friend of mine said, but you should be able to take out the tape, and that was the major problem, but it works. You can take the tape out and put it back in.
Take the tape out?
Yeah,
wow.
You can.
I guess you don't have too many tapes that size.
No, that's the only one.
I was going to say.
And it's the official demo tape that came with the Spectrum over here.
Oh,
and also abroad. It's the official one.
Yeah. I bet there are a lot of people who would like that in their garden.
Yeah.
Mark, I was going to ask you to change the audio of this recording, because you should mute what Joao just did, because otherwise in Cantanhede, people will try to take out the tape.
No, you can take it out, but you need to leave it there. Come on, we have cameras everywhere.
Please go back and mute what he said. Please go back.
Yeah, I am not to blame if a sudden massive oversized tape suddenly disappears from somewhere in Portugal. Speccy Experience are not to blame. So there's another picture of the entrance. Obviously, we've got. Oh, we recognise that, and there's the picture of the tape itself.
Yes.
So that's to prove that the tape you can take out, and it probably take ages to load the game anyway. So I can imagine if there was tape problems, there would be massive problems for you. Is an actual tape in there?
No. It's
just fake.
Completely
fake.
fake.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So I can't actually see if there's actually tape in there.
No.
There is
but it's painted in brown, but no tape there.
And then someone is relaxing, of course.
These are old
outside.
Pictures.
Yeah, these are old pictures. We have got some newer ones. Now, explain this, please.
So
you and George
this is the one from this year. So, George, you were there or not?
No, actually, I wasn't in this event.
Oh, then I'll explain, or else it would be you. So this was this year in beginning of May or April. This is the 7th gathering of former Timex Portugal employees that this time decided to come to the museum. This was sponsored by the Cantanhede City Hall. They rented a bus for them to come from the Lisbon area until Cantanhede. So it's the second time we do it. So because they help us so much by giving objects to the museum and lots of other things and telling the story and all of that, we also try to give back and to welcome them in the museum and show them what we're doing with their objects. And for example, the day before, Thursday, last Thursday, I was in the Portuguese Parliament and we did an exhibition all about the role of Timex Portugal in the ZX Spectrum history. So this is to show how grateful we are to be able to tell the story. For example, we have the number one ZX Spectrum assembled in Portugal, and also the number one TS1000, which is ZX81 clone, that were assembled in the Portuguese factory of Timex. And so we took them to the Portuguese parliament because we wanted to tell the politicians that we should preserve the story of computing in Portugal a lot more. And so these are people from Timex Portugal that visited us recently.
Oh, wow. Okay, so certain picture. Now we're actually, for those who don't know, we're actually now in the museum.
In the
So
first
as
room.
you walk in, again, I could have done the virtual tour, but having the virtual tour on and StreamYard on and webcam on and audio on, I think even my super duper computer probably wouldn't be able to handle it all.
Yeah.
So
this is the welcome. Yeah, this is the welcome part. It's the only place where we have text written. We do have it written in Portuguese because we have the support of a city hall and we are in Portugal, but our project is completely international. So in every section of the museum, you have videos in Portuguese, in English, and I hope to be able to do them also in Spanish one of the next times. That was the welcome part. This is the second part about Clive Sinclair, where we explain some of the other things he created before the computers, in this case, the pocket TVs. We have now lots of additional information about the attempt he did in 1966 to launch a pocket TV, but he announced it, but he never launched it, because all of these are from the 70s and 84, if I'm not mistaken, the last one on the right hand side. And so, yeah, this is the part about the pocket TVs.
Oh, look at that. Amazing set there. So we'll carry on through these pictures. Oops.
What was the picture like on those TVs? I'm not sure. I've seen them in that kind of capacity in museums before, but I'm not sure I've ever actually seen one turned on with.
Yeah, I've took some.
Is it watchable?
It's too small. It's black and white. It's too small, in my opinion. Well, it works, and I do have to say that I set up UHF, a video emitter in the museum, analog emitter, just to be able to test these TVs. So I remember you guys remember the guy that passed away, Andy Remick, that did several videos, the Spectrum Addict. There are several documentaries that he did. And he passed away already. He launched his videos from a company called RAM Films. It was something like that. And the reason I'm remembering Andy is because I put his video running in one of these TVs, and I remember I have the footage, and I sent to him when he was, of course, still alive. So they're bearable, but look, sometimes I feel this was a very strange idea. But then I remember I have YouTube here. So
it's not a strange
I
idea.
Think the idea was ahead of its time.
As
just the
most of the ideas from Clive
available
Sinclair.
to execute it.
Exactly.
Like many of his ideas, they were ahead of time.
Yeah.
Chat, please comment. You haven't chatted for 20 minutes. Come on, chat. I want some comments about what you've been seeing. And if you've got any questions for the Load ZX guys, then please put them in chat, and we'll hopefully get time to do them. Just bear in mind that in about 5 or so minutes, Sam will know this, the 15-minute warning will happen. See if the Load ZX guys remember where this sound comes from. There you go, a bit of trivial, see if you can name the game. We know it obviously because we used it in the last stream. So we'll go through a couple of these pictures a little bit quick now. So we've got the 48 there.
Just as it was presented in the marketing materials. That's why we have it on display like that.
I had that joystick.
Joystick, yeah, I remember using. I had QuickShot, QuickShot 2, I think it was.
The red one.
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah,
I love
it. Amazing. And then
I have 20 or something like we use in all the events.
Uh-huh.
All the computers have a QuickShot 2 joystick.
Yes. Well, I remember going for this one on the screen was like a leaf switch one, wasn't it? That was kind of didn't make any noise.
Yeah,
And it got a
it's not
little bit loose, and
yeah.
the quick shot ones were micro switch, and you could hear the little click. It was a bit more.
I had to be really careful so it wouldn't bust when playing decathlon. So I really want, because it was quite expensive in those days.
You didn't play with the keyboard? Come on.
Yes to both. But I had a DK. My 48K was a DK Tronics one.
Oh, okay.
So it was DK Tronics keyboard. So I had a second-hand 48 and became a DK Tronics because, of course, my first one was an Electron. So yeah, I had a real keyboard. I didn't have a rubber keyboard until I bought the Spectrum. Would you believe it? That was my very first rubber key Spectrum. So let's go through some more pictures. So there you go. Oh, is that a white Spectrum there? Of course.
No, what you're seeing there. Well, what you're seeing in the bottom is the controller for the thing that I mentioned in the stadium. So what you're seeing in that picture above the computer is the panel, is the billboard with the letters on the old football stadium, and the gray kind of Spectrum, rubber key Spectrum that you're seeing behind my finger. That's in that case, why? Oh, I know what it is. It's TS 1500, which is a ZX81 with 16Ks of RAM that Timex Portugal did. And the reason it's there, it's because that it's the one that is connected to that device called DICE. DICE was a device that came from the Timex Portugal factory. It's something that they would use to do debug of Z80 instructions. So it's a professional usage of Spectrum technology or Sinclair technology, kind of, and using a Timex computer, which is Sinclair compatible, of course.
Okay. So a bit more of the museum. This is for people who have never seen it. So this is what it looks like indoors. Obviously, I'll show you the website soon. Go and do the virtual tour of the website, please, because I went through it before the stream and it's amazing. It felt like I was walking through there.
Although it is outdated, the museum has grown and we need to update it, but we're waiting to remake the exhibition. So over the years we started having calculators in one room, then calculators in another room. Now we have put everything together and we are reorganizing it, and the next step is to redo the virtual tour to have everything in place. So and what you're seeing there is our time travel tunnel. So when you pass it, you go back to the 80s. That's what we say to visitors, because there will be a picture about what you see in the other side of the tunnel.
So if anyone's got headphones on, I would say just maybe turn them down very slightly, because we have hit the 15 minutes. Turn it up again. Now, George, go to George first. George, do you know what that game is?
Yes, of course, it's Green Beret. That was an easy
one.
Yeah.
I knew it. No, I know.
It's the Green Beret, which gives us, it means we've got 15 minutes of the stream left. It's 15 minutes to 10 o'clock, quarter to 10. So we put that in so we don't overdo it, because the very first couple of streams, we were still streaming. We didn't realize, me and Tez, that it was nearly 11 o'clock at night and we went an hour over. So so we're getting a little bit more stricter. But if we go a little bit over today, I'm not worried too much about it. I have got the week off, so I can go over a little bit, and especially because we did start later. So in all fairness, I might do the alarm again at 10 o'clock, because the 2 hours is actually at 10:15, not 10 today. But anyway, let's carry on with the pictures. So please explain this. Is this a typical household in Portugal or something?
No, this is, this tries to replicate what would be a typical or a possible household in the 80s in Portugal. But let me clarify 2 or 3 things. Of course, this is not furniture from the 80s, but you wouldn't. Is that a cat or it's a cat? I have a Portuguese water dog, which is also black, and I was like, does he have a dog or what?
No. This one's a cat. I have got dog as well, a small poodle somewhere. But yeah, sorry, I keep getting invaded today.
Yeah, no problem at all. So this is furniture that you could find in an household in the 80s. You have a real Spectrum there with a tape recorder that we use to make loads, quote, enter, and show the sound and everything. The thing from Jesus Christ is no longer there. It was there in the beginning. It's no longer there. Again, this was kind of typical in Portugal. Portugal is pretty much a Christian country, but we are not trying to force anything in anyone. We did have some comments about that in the past, so eventually we took it out because we found better things to put on display. But this is how it was in the beginning. And then there's the painting, and the painting is something very peculiar because everyone from Portugal crosses that door, that tunnel, and starts laughing when they see the painting, because the painting is an Italian painting, but there's a theory that it is, let's say, cursed. So there was some orphanage or something like that that would burned, and everything would burn except the painting. So people start believing that the painting was kind of haunted or something like that, and everyone would put the painting in their house to avoid it being burned. I don't know how much of it is true, how much of it, of course, is the urban legend and the myth. But the fact is, it's very common for people in the 80s to have this painting or a replica in their houses. And someone in the first exhibition, we had one that we printed at home, and then someone gave this one to us, and we have it in display there, and it's very Portuguese thing. It's a very Portuguese thing.
I've only just noticed.
It's a crying boy, the name.
The TV screen.
Yeah.
What's being played?
Oh, it's one of my favorite games. It's one that I remember playing. It's Pyjamarama.
Pyjamarama.
Yeah, it's one of the games I remember from my childhood.
We've got a new member of the team. We've got the cat who's trying to make an experience. So
yeah, she's really keen. I think maybe I didn't feed her enough tonight. But I think she's a big fan of Pyjamarama.
Probably. Exactly. I had the version that had the popcorn song. It was a pirate copy, but there was a version with the popcorn song, and then they had to take it out because the music was copyrighted or something like that. So I think there's more than one version of the game.
Right. It's like Jean-Michel Jarre. Yeah.
That's called popcorn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, that wasn't Jean-Michel Jarre who did popcorn.
No. It was also used in an advertisement for a thing called Crazy Frog a few years later.
Yes.
You remember that in the 2000 or something, or 90s?
We've lost George, so I don't know where George has gone. George, if the link, I can resend you the link because I think it probably might have changed. So I'll resend the link to the Facebook Messenger group. So please come back. If you've got problems, then just let us know in the chat that you have got problems, and that's not a problem if you have. Oh, he's back. He's back straight away. So welcome back, George.
Yeah, thank you. Just had a network problem here, but all solved now.
Right, I'm going to quickly go through this screen. I want to talk to both of you about Spectrum games in a minute. And so here is another loads of screens,
videos, and computers for people to play. Current technology.
How many monitors have you got in your museum?
6, 10, 11, 13, around 15 or 16. All of them Grundig, all of them from this model, and we have at least 10 others in storage from the same model. And if we have time and you want, I can tell you where we bought them from, and it's a nice story also. But we have something like 50 TV sets in our warehouse that we use for the gaming events that I was telling you about, because we always use CRTs. And yes, but it started with the ones in the museum that you've seen.
So if you see where my mouse is at the moment, that's the computers you can go in and actually play games.
You have an NGO there. You have ZX Uno, which is a Spanish clone. You have a just Speccy 128K. So you have clones with today's technology, with the advantage of using SD cards. that run XDOS, and XDOS is a Portuguese software. I don't know if you guys know that. The thing that allows you to access the SD card is Portuguese, made by Miguel Guerreiro, a friend of ours in the museum also. And I didn't know that when I started the museum. And that tells you how much the Spectrum is in the Portuguese community also.
Oh, wow. So we'll carry on.
If I may just comment, because it's from Britain, the diagram in the wall, in the chalkboard, it's from a friend of mine. It's from a British guy. It's from Jared Bentley. He was involved in games. And Jared came up with the concept of that diagram that has all the Sinclair machines, all the Timex machines, all the Investronica, which is the Spanish brand machines. And we added the ZX Spectrum Next to tell to our visitors that in 2020, there was a very famous new version of a Sinclair machine, which was the Spectrum Next. Now we could add the Spectrum, but this was made way before.
And possibly that Spectrum handheld, which has been announced.
Yeah, but if we go to all of them, then there are 20 or 30. You have the Element MB03. You have so many, even Portuguese clones. So there's lots of them.
So let's talk about, obviously,
the vehicle.
The vehicle.
Oh, there's one thing missing there. Now we have a Zyke above the C5. Yeah. So that's one of the most interesting parts. Again, another one that shows you. I normally tell to people, none of the objects in this section works very well, in my opinion. But all of them are way interesting. I think, well, you all know about the C5. You may know about the Zeta 1, 2, and 3. We have the wheelchair drive unit. We have the Sea-Doo Sea-Scooter that Sinclair developed together with DACA, which was an agency that he was involved in Hong Kong. We have the A-Bike. We have the electric A-Bike. From the A-Bikes, there are, I think, 3 models. We have 2 of them. There's one missing. Now we have a prototype of the bike that he was doing before he passed away. And now we have lots and lots of information of other bikes that he did not launch. But I would stress another thing, which is that canvas in the wall. The canvas was given to us by Grant Sinclair, which is the nephew of Clive Sinclair. And he's doing another electric trike called the Iris. And this canvas was used in a BBC program, a BBC show, and then he gave it to us. And some people said that, oh, it's Clive Sinclair here. Of course it's not. It's a news reporter called John Passmore. I think it's John Passmore. The funny story is we identified him. I contacted him. He lives in a sailboat or something like that. And he sent me the most amazing email when I told him, do you know your face is in our museum in Portugal? And he told us the story of this picture. And you cannot see it, but the picture is in Trafalgar Square. And he was doing a race with a Citroën 2 CV. I don't know how you say it in English, 2 horsepower, the old Citroën. And in the canvas, you can see the Citroën behind it. And he told me they were doing a kind of a race when they were taking pictures, testing the C5. So that's an amazing story. And that's the thing about the museum. Each object has a different story. And I know them all because I was the one bringing them to the museum. So I'm not saying this because of any kind of ego, but just to say that I did a couple of tours that took more than 3 hours, because when people have time and I get excited and they make questions, we can spend lots and lots of hours talking about everything.
Wow.
Well, I've got many I could keep. I'm going to just ask one, actually, out of curiosity. Have you? No, I'm going to ask 2 questions. The first one: who won the race out of the 2 CV?
I don't know.
But the other one: have you ridden in on a lot of those vehicles? Have you gone in the C5 yourself, for example?
Oh yeah. We have plenty of videos. I use it. I normally use it when we go to an event and I want to surprise people. For example, we have an event in our city that it's the biggest event in Portugal and Spain of this kind, which is kind of a music festival plus food festival plus agriculture event. And it brings 500,000 people to the city in over 10 days. And I use it in the event because I know that when I'm riding it, everyone starts looking at it. We go to Lisboa Games Week, which is one of the biggest gaming events in Portugal. 50,000 people. I ride it, or at least I did it in the first years, because everyone starts looking at it, and then we can promote the museum using it. I even did a video joking where I took it out of the museum and I went to an electric charger and I simulated I was charging it like if it was a Tesla or something like that. And then we made a joke out of it, and it's kind of nice. Yeah, I have lots of videos driving it in Cantanhede. When I bought it, it was bought in the Netherlands. It was not working. I had to repair it, but it was very exciting to then start riding it. But it's scary at the same time because it's you're close to the and if you have a truck, they don't see it. It's scary. It's really scary to drive it in the road.
Right, I'm going to skip some photos because I'm looking at the time.
That's your fault. You show a picture, I spent time talking.
So we're going to go back to these in a minute. So here is the Load ZX Awards. So for those who don't know, this is probably the biggest awards for the Spectrum, definitely in Portugal. I would say one of the biggest in Europe. And can you? I'll hand over to George. Maybe George, can you explain a bit about the ZX Game of the Year awards a bit for us?
Well, from the beginning, these awards were created by the Planeta Sinclair blog. So it's a Portuguese blog where they focus on the ZX Spectrum and on the Sinclair family of equipments, and they have been doing these awards for many years.
It was the 10th edition this year.
The 10th edition, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think in the last 4 or 5 editions, Planeta Sinclair, so in English we can say Planet Sinclair, they started teaming, cooperating with the museum to do a joint organization. And that explains why Joao is there in the stage. So it's
looking
Joao,
very posh, as we say in the UK.
Yeah.
Bow tie and everything.
Yes, indeed. And the other host is a Portuguese journalist, which is also focused on video games. And they are the main hosts of the GOTY. Joao, it's Mariana, right?
Cristiana.
Cristiana.
It's like Cristiano, but Cristiano. It's a strange name even in Portuguese.
Yes, so it's Cristiana, and they have been hosting the GOTY for the last 2 years. The GOTY consists of a main award. The main award is for the GOTY, the best game of the year, and usually it has 10 nominees. And then there are other categories like best audio, best loading screen, best arcade game, and other categories, for example, like best Portuguese Brazilian game, best Spanish game, because many of the games are also from
and you've got your
England.
own Hall of Fame as well, haven't you?
Yeah, that's another thing.
Yes, Schwab.
Yeah, so everything George said is 100% accurate. All the work, all the merit came from André Leão. André Leão is another friend of ours and very involved in the community internationally. He's also the author of the book that the museum launched, and he's the responsible for preserving software over here. And we're good friends. André is also part of the association behind the museum over here. And we normally joke saying that the only reason we don't merge our projects is because we don't feel the need. But the fact is we work totally aligned. And so eventually they challenged us to start expanding the GOTY. And we said from the very beginning, the GOTY needs to have a life on its own. And so that's why now we're starting to call it the ZX Spectrum Game Awards. Until then, it was the Planeta Sinclair Awards. It was never the Load ZX Award, just to be clear. And so from the very first day, what I said to Andrea was, I won't relax until we have a red carpet in Cantanhede for the awards. And the fact is, the first 2 editions were online because of the COVID. And then we start having the red carpet. The hardest thing was not to organize the event, was to put Andre, my friend, using a tuxedo, smoking. Eventually, we were able. Then he's on another role in the event, and so he doesn't need to use it. But yes, we try to bring glamour to because if we say we are the Oscars of the Spectrum, we need to show it. Having said that, the Hall of Fame is an addition. It's not part of the GOTY, but it's a complement that suits very well. Mm-hmm. Everyone complains with this kind of awards because everyone has an opinion and everyone wants to make a judgment and everyone wants to make a selection. We don't believe, sorry for saying this, but we don't believe that having public's vote is the best option because people they find ways to go against the voting mechanisms, and it's not correct. So we believe the best way to do it is to have an international panel of jury that makes the selection and makes all of that. That's how it goes. Yep. But then we decided we wanted to bring the most important games of the ZX Spectrum to the walls of the museum, and games from the old days, the classics. And we're getting inspiration in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Wrestling Hall of Fame, the whatever Hall of Fame. Everyone has an Hall of Fame. So we copied the concept. We do a pre-selection. There are 3 members in the jury. Everyone chooses 3 games plus another one in case there's a tie. And then we submit it to public vote. And mostly Portuguese people, but it's getting as normal. Portuguese people are becoming less. The percentage is getting smaller, which is normal because the museum gets more and more visibility. And but people are the ones responsible for selecting the games. First year was Chucky Egg. Chucky Egg is huge in Portugal.
Yay!
Chucky Egg in Portugal, I have to say, and I'm not saying this to upset anyone, but it's bigger than Manic Miner in Portugal. Yeah, it is. In Portugal, it is. No doubt about that. Then second year was Target Renegade. And the third year, which was last year, was Bomb Jack.
Bomb Jack,
the 3 games.
Yeah.
And I can say something that I didn't say it, but Nigel Alderton was about to come to our event in June. But he unfortunately had an health issue, nothing serious, but he had an health issue and he couldn't join us this time. But I'm sure we eventually will bring him to Portugal, but it won't be this time.
I think it was, I can't remember, Sam, was it stream 2 or stream 3? We actually, which was around February, March time, we actually did a feature about the Load ZX games, which I remember I actually watched the awards live. And as I was watching the awards live, I was actually typing out on PowerPoint what you saw on the Speccy Experience stream. So I didn't know who the winners were. So as soon as Cubics won, I thought, right, where can I find a Cubic screen? And then what did it win? Oh yeah, it won this. So I was trying to watch the Low ZX in calm, nicely. Oh, this is great. I love watching this. And I thought, as I do sometimes, this will be good to show on the Speccy Experience stream. So of course that's then creative. And Sam knows me and my love of PowerPoint. Trying to get, and it worked. So
and thank you for that, because it helps us all this sort of visibility. I think it's quite unique what we're doing there.
And I'm hoping, obviously, there is a big event which we'll talk about in a minute, which is the next event of Low ZX, which is coming out just over a week's time. I'm hoping now to try to come to, if I can make it, the Low ZX Game Awards for 2027.
Yeah. Let me just stress, this last edition had 2 very special things. For the first time, all the presenters were there live. Even Enrico Olivier from the Spectrum Next team flew from the UK. We had people flying from Spain also. And for the first time, we had winners that were present in the room and got the award there. Yeah. It was the first time both of these things happened. And we were very happy with it.
So I'll be wondering what's going to be the Hall of Fame for 2027. Now Chucky Egg's been done. Of course, How's That should be there. Everyone in Speccy Experience streams knows I'm going to mention How's That once every stream because it's such a great cricket game. It's not. I think Football Manager should be in that Hall of Fame, especially if a certain
Kevin
person
Toms would agree with you.
Yeah, especially if certain persons come to see you very soon. Hint, 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 hint. But let's quickly go through some of these other
I
streams.
think
So
the main thing, just make sure that you don't invite Will Smith.
Will Smith, oh yeah, or else we're at risk. But I like the guy.
So this is what I've been mentioning about what the next big Loads ZX event is. So we're near the end of the stream. So after this, we will talk briefly about you guys games that you've mentioned that you love playing. One I've never heard of, one I definitely have heard of because I'm a football fan. So I've definitely heard of that game because me and my football knowledge. So this is sadly, I'm going to miss this because of various reasons, work, and of course the airplane tickets at the moment are very, very, very expensive. This is the event on June the 13th and 14th, and this is their football classics, and they've got some special guests coming along. And this is on June the 13th, 14th at the Loads ZX Museum. I'll hand over to our guests to talk about it because obviously I don't know much about it other than it's some guests are coming over about football. Yay!
I think, let me just say this. I think, well, football is the number one sports over here. And Jorge has been the guy that has been helping most to make this happen. So he's, I think, pretty much aligned with everything. So, George, do you want to present this?
Yeah, let's hand over to George.
Well, I am the big fan of football and match day 2 and other football games, much like Mark, which is also a big football fan of games. And we started preparing this event when Joao decided that football would be the theme for this year. So we started having an internal discussion about the names, and we identified Matchday 2, Football Manager, like iconic games on the spectrum. I think that Emily Nukes is also one of the biggest names.
It is, yeah.
Emilio Butragueño was a very successful game in Spain. I don't know if it reached England.
No, because it was a clone of the Gary Lineker game. We had Gary Lineker, which was virtually identical to that one. Because I played both of them, and I thought this looks familiar.
I remember having both of them. I don't remember them, but I remember both of the games. Yeah.
Okay, so they just changed the name of the striker. Okay, no, it's an option.
Yes, yes, it kind of makes sense.
And I was in touch with John Reitman actually for about 3 years, because one day I said to myself, okay, I'm going to try to get in touch with him and tell him that we are able to play Matchday 2 over the internet. So I told him that I was actually playing his game over the internet with friends, which made him a bit surprised. And Football Manager was also another choice, although I think there are very good football games about managing teams, but Football Manager is the iconic one.
It's a classic. So that's
why.
Yeah. And I had been with Kevin Toms in the first or second Crash Live around Birmingham, and so we spoke about him visiting the museum eventually. So it was something in the backlog to do.
Yeah, I've played over, as you know, I've played over 120 Spectrum football games now. I couldn't believe there's so many, and there's still some new ones coming. And I have to say, I always go back to Football Manager 82, as I call it, because there is, of course, Football Manager now, which is totally different, which is like the great grandson of Football Manager. And so I met Kevin Toms at Crash Live for the very first time last year, and God, he's tall.
I'm tall, he is,
and he's taller than me.
Huge.
I'm 6'3", he's about 6'5". So, but yeah, carry on, George. Sorry.
Well, and then we also decided to try to invite the one of the authors of Emily Nukes, but as João said, it was not possible to have his presence here. And there is another guest that João has not announced yet.
Yes.
A third guess.
About another very famous game. So we will have another guest that we assume will bring many fans.
And there are other sorts of guests, if I may add, because so 4 years ago we did a celebration of the 40th anniversary of the ZX Spectrum. Then 2 years after, we did an event which turned out to be more or less around racing games. And we also, when we do this, we as a museum, to survive, we need to go mainstream. We need to reach other sorts of public. We need to reach people that had a Spectrum but don't care about Spectrums anymore, but they remember it. So what I mean is, if we have ways to bring people from social society that are related to what you are discussing, that's interesting. So 2 years ago, we had a Portuguese racing driver coming over and riding our C5 and taking some pictures and all of that, because he was from a nearby city and he was a friend of mine and I was able to invite him. And when we were talking about this year, what I thought was, look, either we like it or not, and I'm a table tennis player, whatever other sports player, but we are a football country. It's impossible to avoid that. So what I thought was, there's nothing better than doing an event about football. So because then we can try to bring also some footballers and having them say if they play computer games or not. So there will be a couple of other surprises involved, at least for Portuguese people. And we're setting up we're closing the lineup, let's say it like that. But in terms of international programmers, we will have 3 of them. There was a 4th one that was Nigel Alderton, because he was kind of, let's say, project manager or some management role in Emily Nukes game. But he's not joining this time. It was not possible. And yeah, that's it. And the 3rd name, we won't reveal it yet. There's some connection with the Spectrum, but he's a very big name also in another computer system, not competitor. But I think people will like it. I have to say, it's one of the guys I really wanted to know, because I admire his work as a game developer.
So I'm going to slowly start rounding up now. So the picture I didn't put up is this was done
John
after
Rittman.
I'd done all this. Was John Rittman, of course, famous guy. Rittman Rovers. That's how I know him from. He did Head Over Heels and stuff like that as well. But
and Batman.
Yeah.
And Kevin Toms did The President also, which is a friend of ours, is very addicted to the game. So yeah,
I kind of know him as Rittman Rovers, really.
Yeah.
So we're going to quickly go through what I've got left. So this is
Phoenix.
One of Phoenix. So
I was playing it yesterday or the day before in the public parliament to show to the guys. Phoenix is the game. I think I was the one choosing this one. Phoenix is I'm not sure if it was the first game I played on the Spectrum, but it's the one that I believe was the first one in terms of my memories, childhood memories with the Spectrum.
And George, your game we actually seen now. Of course, I like how you put the teams in there because, of course, what happened earlier. I bet you had a more interesting game than the actual game itself, which I heard wasn't exactly the world's bestest football game. It's up there with the World Cup '94 finals being one of the most boring ones. But if everyone has actually seen the World Cup '94 final, you know what I'm on about. But this, of course, is match day 2.
Yes, I spent many hours.
Yes,
I spent many hours playing it with my friends in Lisbon, and I can tell you that one time this happened in the 80s. So one time we used to communicate through message boards on newspapers. So one time we decided to meet some guys that we didn't know about. We just set up a meeting in the city, and then we brought them to my house. I think we were like 8 guys that I didn't know from anywhere. And we just spent the afternoon doing a tournament of match day 2.
wow.
And I don't know who won. I don't remember, but it wasn't me. So,
Well, you won 7 friends that day.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
actually,
That's
I
the
lost
prize.
track
Yeah?
of them. I lost track of them, but it was funny because these things used to happen in the 80s, and things like this, getting 8 strange guys into your place, it doesn't happen anymore.
No.
You shouldn't. Right now, you shouldn't. Yes.
So we'll let's do a bit of promotion for LoadZX here. This is their Twitch screen. So obviously I think it's not every Thursday night. Thursday night they do streams
Not
of them playing
regular.
retro.
We
they
try
play
to adapt to what's happening.
They play various games, which I'm hoping. Who normally wins them all? I forgot his name. I think he's in the chat.
Antonio Silva. Antonio
Yeah.
is the guy who wins almost everything. It's amazing.
It's just amazing how good he is at playing all the games, and he keeps saying that he's never practiced before.
But that part probably is not true, but he's really good. We had Jim Bagley in one of the lives playing Cabal with us, and he didn't win.
Right.
Okay, so Clive ZX, you have met John Rittman.
He invited him for an event in 2009.
So
amazing.
that's the LoadZX Spectrum Twitch. Obviously, just type that name in, and they'll do streams Thursdays, not every Thursday, but then play retro games and have little tournaments. I've been in one myself, the Jetpack, which was great fun, and it's great chatting to all the guys as well. A lot of them are in the stream tonight, so many thanks for tuning in. And the last thing we're going to look on the screen is, if it works, no PowerPoint today, so is the actual museum itself. This is the website. This is the LoadZX museum website. I will try to make it move if I can. There we go. So you can move down. You can look at various things here and look, even video. There's video working here on my stream. My God, that's good. And here you can access the virtual tour. The virtual tour, even though it's as you mentioned, it's a bit dated, it still gives you a good idea what the museum is all about, and you can interact in the little tour, and we get a certain person appearing on the video talking about things and stuff like that. It's great to look, so definitely come to this website if you want to know more about LoadZX, or contact these guys via the Twitch group. And of course the event is coming up very soon, the football event, which again sadly I can't make, but I'm looking at the time, it's getting late, so I think we've just done over 2 hours, which is our standard time. So let's go and see if there's any questions in the chat. I don't think there are. We've just got people making great comments. So many thanks to the chat for appearing. ZX Spectrum videos. So Clive ZX, Bruno. There's a lot of you actually. So I can't mention all of you because I'm probably going to forget. And a lot of you got great Portuguese names which I can't pronounce anyway, and I don't want this long-term alliance between Portugal and UK to break up because I can't pronounce any of these names. So but many thanks for George and Joao to appear in this stream tonight. I hope you both had fun. I hope it hasn't been too bad for you both. I hope we've been nice and gentle. Thanks for Sam for coming in as well.
And the cat. And
the cat as well. Yeah. We had an extra screen.
Thank you for having me.
We had an extra screen for the cat to appear if it had its own webcam, but sadly it did not. Many thanks for the chat, and I'll give any last comments now over to let's see if we've got any comments actually. Turns out my stream was behind, all my comments will have been delayed. Welcome to my club. And then we've got Will Do there. So I'll hand over to the end of the stream to our guests for the final words, and then I'll say goodbye. So final words then, guys.
So it was a pleasure to be here. That we could be here 2 or 3 streams without a problem. So there's lots and lots and lots.
We will invite you back in the future.
Thank you. But again, we try to do our best in a difficult context, but we try to do our best. Always trying to make the museum a better and better experience and more knowledgeable and providing more content. Of course, we would love to do it much faster than we do, but it's not easy. But still, our intention, I think that's what drives everything, which is to honor the legacy of the guys that basically changed our lives for better by giving us computers. Some of us going into careers in IT, me and George, for example. And all because we had this computer in our houses, our friend, our neighbor's house. And the intention, I think it's the right one. It's to honor all the work of these guys. So follow the museum, send us questions if you have them. If you come to Portugal, let us know. If we can help, we're always interested in having more people visiting us and talking about this. And thank you.
Go, if you get the chance, anyone, then go and visit. I will definitely try my best to go and visit, because if you are a Spectrum fan, if you're generally an 8-bit fan or generally a computer fan, you should go and see this, because it will give you, if you're a certain age, memories of the past, if you are brand new, because there's loads of homebrew games coming out. We didn't get time to talk about games mostly because we wanted to talk more about the museum, but if you're a fan of the games now and the games of the past, it's definitely one place that you should go to and enjoy yourself, because you've got great people there working really hard as well.
There's one thing some people refer to me about the museum, which is kind of, I wouldn't say awkward, but I wouldn't expect it in the beginning, which is the smell of electronics, the smell of the computers, the electronics,
and plastic kind of.
Yeah, you start noticing it. It's true, and I never thought about that in the beginning.
Okay, George, did you just see that comment about the match day 2, by the way?
Yes, actually, I was the one writing that comment, because that's my channel where I usually monitor the chat for the museum in the museum events.
Any last comments, George?
Yes, just saying that, well, I'm mostly a gamer, so that's where I get the most fun in participating in events with the museum. So during the last 2 years, we had a lot of fun with the ZX Gaming. We play online at least once per month. That's our goal, maybe sometimes 2 times per month. And we have invited Mark. We wish to invite other people. If you wish to participate sometime, send us an email at the museum. If you are watching this stream and you wish to participate, please let us know. We like to have new guests. And Mark, I will let you know about the next stream session.
Thank you.
I don't know if we will have one this week, but I will let you know. I have to talk with Joao and still schedule our next stream.
No problem. So if you can both stay on after the stream ends, we'll say goodbye, better. But that is the. Oh, sorry, Sam. Have you got any final comments?
Oh, I only to say it was really good to chat to you guys. Thanks for making the time. It's really, really interesting, and also great to see the Back to the Future machine in the background. I don't want to get into a conversation about it because we're trying to finish the stream now. But I've been staring at it with almost as much nostalgia as I have when I look at the museum. So yeah great stuff.
So a big obrigado to you both for today, and I'm sad to say thank you stream, thank you everyone who's been watching this. Thanks for all my guests, thanks to Sam, thanks to the cat, and it's a adeus to you all. Is that right?
Adeus. Goodbye.
That's how you say it. So thanks everyone, and stay tuned to the next stream. The next stream, Tez will be hosting the next stream. He's got Phil South as the guest, and it will be on June the 27th, I think. So in a couple of weeks' time, when the World Cup is still going on. I'll just do a quick plug about my channel. There's a big video coming out on my YouTube channel next Saturday, which is going to be the World Cup special, which has taken me 3 hours to do because it was my 3rd attempt doing the episode, because my first attempt, my sound levels were too low. My second attempt, I forgot to add 3 games. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do a 3rd one. And it's an hour long of 20 World Cup Spectrum games, arcade and management. And yes, I did have to go back to World Cup Carnival. I'm so sorry. Someone had to do it. So many thanks for everyone. Thanks to all the comments as well. And we've got the final comments. Love that. I usually dip in out of streams, but have stayed from start to finish. Oh, thank you very much, Sir Clive. Thanks, guys. I'll visit LoadZX next year or two for sure. Obrigado. And then Bruno says, thanks for an awesome stream. So we'll end it there. So many thanks for everyone. If everyone can stay on stream, I'm going to end the live stream. Thank you and take care of yourselves. And hopefully it's not too hot. And oh, there's the cat. Cat's saying goodbye. And good luck to Portugal and England in the World Cup. I hope we both meet in the World Cup final. I got a feeling you probably get there more than us, but we'll see. And hope Scotland get past the group stage for the very first time. So bye-bye, everyone, and take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, folks.